it's due, and this is going to be a little bit of a hectic, like my messy top knot TBR. And so I'm still continuing to experiment with this, have around 10 to 15 or so books within kind of some, whatever gave me the idea, right? How to discern books off my physical, kind of as a amount of possibilities that I can either pick via mood or pick via what I just got done reading and what would be a good compliment, or what would maybe be a change in theme, setting, perspective, etc. So I have finished National Book Award winning and or finalist authors. I have moved into reading the Latin American and Latin Heritage, American Heritage Month authors, and also some of the folks who were on the Kirkus finalist or shortlist. What is coming down the pike then, and what I look for when I was pouring new books, is I'm going to start sort of integrating in some of the Booker authors. I'm going to call them Booker authors. There are authors, and not necessarily the work, but authors who have been on the shortlist or have won. In some cases, the actual winner, in some cases, the actual shortlisted book, but more the authors. And then I am still like chilling with those autumn colors, and I'm not really a seasonal reader, but to be honest, anything that kind of gets you discerning or excited. So I pulled books, a couple of books that had been on my shelf for a while, and you'll hear more about it when I go through the books. But I pulled some books that had been on my shelf for a while, and I just wanted to make sure that I'm also, going through books and reading them or unhauling them if they've been sitting around for a while. All of my books are thrifted, free, or cheap, with some exceptions coming as used from independent bookstores. But generally, they're given to me. They're traded from a little free library. I got them at a thrift store for $3. I think the most money I've spent on a book is $7. And so I love to have a library. Like, I love to have books everywhere near me. I love to be able to say, okay, this is, here are my options. And also, in thinking and going through, I was really reviewing some of the ones that have been on the shelf for a while, and making some mental notes of why am I holding on to this? If somebody else could be reading it, it will come back to me. The library is always there, or it won't. I may or may not have talked about The Last Cuentista. This is a young adult, and it was actually kind of shoved into my very small and limited young adult shelf, and I had forgotten about it. So when I rediscovered it, when I was redoing my young adult, doing the let's not hold on to any young adult for sure that we don't want, I found it. And of course, this fits in Hispanic Heritage Month, but it also fits in sort of autumn vibes. I have a friend who may or may not read the Spanish translation with me. Dona Barbara Higuera wrote this in English. This is not a translated work, but I'm making sure, yeah. But this person likes to practice reading in Spanish. This is a somewhat new book, and I think other people, it's 2023, and I think young adult readers would still be really excited to find it. So this one won't be the one that, like, this one I'll get to. A Booker, this is a winner, yeah, is John Banville. This book came out, this is The Sea, and this book came out in 2000, I think it's published in 2005, maybe Booker 2006. I might have read this book. This is an Irish author, and I was reading Booker authors when I lived in England in 2007, 2008. And also, I don't even know. That's just to have the connection maybe with the book. Well, I read it or not that many years ago. Certainly, it's not that much of a commitment to give a try again. When I first hauled this book, and then when I was first sort of curating the idea of reading book or authors, I looked it up in Libby, and it was on, I had to put it on hold. So it's recently come off hold, which told me bump this book up. So this one I'm going to have to read sooner rather than later, because it came off hold quite a bit ago. And if you don't know, you might be asking, you're holding the physical book. Why do you need the audio or digital? Well, that has to do with fonts and font size and or style and or contrast that really agitate headaches. So I find that having the digital and or audio version or both really help me. I don't do well going back and forth between the written and the listening, like reading with my eyes and reading with my ears. However, I'm starting to develop some skill around that. This, I don't have an audio, just digital. And I'm excited to read it as one of the, ensuing to be read book or authors. I recently hauled some ARCs, and the discussion I had during the haul video was like, oh, I need to find some ARCs and then just replace them. So I have absolutely just pulled books. Like when I said to myself, no, you're not a romance reader. It's not your genre, not now. I'm not saying not ever, but not now. And I just didn't want to have like all my Taylor Jenkins Reid or something like that. Somebody else, I think I had an Allie Hazelwood. I realized somebody else could really be wanting those books, and I unhauled them without reading. Mystery thriller has always been my this is like detective mystery thriller. And this is Cara Black's Murder Below Montparnasse, or Montparnasse. And I think, what just went down on the Louvre, which is very, like today's news, made me think about this book. And also, like, I was looking for my ARCs to unhaul, and I decided, look, this definitely has the autumn colors. I still want to give this book a chance. So this one is read or unhaul in the month of October. I get super excited for ARCs. I said that in the haul video. I don't know why. I mean, I guess I know why. Like, I think it's really exciting to find ARCs that got sent that are still in the free circulation environment, because this is not getting pulped. Maybe somebody's still excited about reading it. I, of course, also looked in Libby. This is available. It's not a new, like, I have a couple ARCs. They're not out yet. Oh, super exciting. Gonna have to just, during the haul, I had to make sure if the font would work. And by the way, I could read this font. This font would work for me. But this is like 2013. It's not incredibly new, but there's also really exciting that this sort of ARC book is making circles. Hopefully I get to it. Hopefully I like it. Another ARC that I pulled, and to be honest, like, this might be one of the oldest books on my shelf. By that, I mean the one that I hauled, like, way back in the beginning when I started doing this, really trading in little free libraries, really kind of getting books from thrift stores to have more to trade, like building a collection, a library. I think when I hauled this book, I might have had 20 books to my name, and 10 of them I got for $5, because this came from the St. Vincent de Paul, 10 for $5. This was a little free library haul. It's also an ARC. It's a little newer. It's 2023. I was like ecstatic. I was like, in these little libraries, they have books in translation. So if this doesn't work for me, I actually have a friend I think that I'm going to give it to. But if not, like, I think people who are going around peering in little free libraries, the people who love to find the opportunity to read books in translation, of which we don't have that much in any means, right? Would be super excited as I was to find this. I can't remember why I stalled or why I haven't read it till now. I think that I thought about reading it more than once. I have had it now for like 6 or 7 months, which is a long time for me, right? It hasn't even been a year since I started building my collection. This is translated. So this is Esther Kinsky's Seeing Further. And it is translated from German by Caroline Schmitz. And it takes place in Hungary. And it has to do with the cinema and hungry, and there is multimedia in this book, and it's not incredibly long, and I hope, again, this is a reader on haul, October, like, I hope I get a chance to read it in October, but if I don't, I know, like, it's a great book to get back out there. Kind of fitting the fall vibe, and now back to Booker authors. I recently hauled Monica Ali's Love Marriage, and from the marketing on that book, I learned that Brick Lane was shortlisted for the Booker. I think this book was published in 2003, so maybe circa 2003, 2004. You know, now more than 20 years ago. I was really compelled to this cover, and I was really excited when I found this book, which was one of my free books at the Friends of the Library, because I hadn't read any Bangladeshi authors. This was like the first one that I encountered, and this author was born in Bangladesh, now lives in London, and as do the characters in this book. And so I'm excited for this book, and this one isn't a reader on haul. This one I'll get to read because this is also on my Booker list. And it's time. Like, I am really excited. I think this also has a lot of sort of the vibes, which again, I'm not that seasonal a reader, but this kind of has the fall vibes. There's definitely ghosts and people in the bardo. And yeah, I like that kind of a things going on with this book. I have been recently hip to the fact that the audio is just well worth it. So I found the audio. There was one copy available, so I grabbed it, as I didn't have to wait on hold for this one available copy. I'm a member of a couple of libraries because of where I live. I can be. And the other one was like a super long waiting list. So I was really excited to find the audio of this. And so that puts me under the, like, I have to read it in 21 days because it'll likely be put on hold. And by that, I mean, I'll use the physical book and the audio, to listen and read this book. And I am really excited. And again, this is a Booker winner. This is a Booker winner. I thought I knew the year, but I'm going to have to look it up so I don't say things. I don't know the year it won. I'm going to tell you the year that it was published. 2017. So 2017 or 2018 Booker winner. Yeah, it's just couldn't be more excited. Actually, all of these books I'm excited for. And I know that the Bookers, if I don't get to, they'll roll over into November because that's when I'm reading Booker authors. But I also know that those couple of books that I picked off the shelf, those arcs to replace the other arcs, I'm excited to see if I get to them and to see what I think about them, because those are a little more experimental, discover the author kind of situations. So we will find out in the reading review video in a couple of weeks, because I got plenty of books to read before then too. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe up to 9 books. There were some novellas, just a heads up, to review in my next review video. They're done. I'm just not in the mood to do a reading review video today. So maybe tomorrow or the next day we'll get caught up on what I've read and what I think about it. And in future videos, we'll see about these books that I've just put on my TBR. Till then.